Hello, my angels. Welcome, ladies, to Chengi's World. Yes! I am always so happy to be here behind the camera, back again, where my best ever self. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am Chengi, and you, beautiful lady, are my world. And if you're wondering why I call you angels, it's because angels are sent ones. They're messengers. And I completely and truly believe that you ladies were sent to me and I was sent to you. So it's like a divine connection. So welcome to heaven. Hello. So if you want to become one of my angels, make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be a part of this amazing community of amazing women. I love every single one of my subbies and viewers. Today's video is going to be the different types of men. It's a Q&A Wednesday today, so I'm going to be doing question and answers every Wednesday. I put up a notification on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, please do, or Facebook, Chengi's World. Okay, so I was asking if you ladies had any questions that you wanted me to answer, so keep them coming. DM me, email me. All the details will be in the description box. So definitely, and do get in touch and ask me your questions. Today's question comes from a friend of mine. I thought I would put her front and center because she asked this of me about 6 months ago, and she said, Chengi, can you do a video talking about the different types of men? Right? And I promised I would. So I have put her first in the list. So today's question comes from my friend. I'm going to call her P, and she'll know who she is. And this is a video answering that question. What are the different types of men? Because I think this is a really good question, because I think whilst one man will be different from another, like a thumbprint, no one is exactly the same. And what we need to understand is that whilst men as a gender will share certain commonalities that we discuss here, there are specific types, and they don't always fall into one category, if you like. They won't all sort of fall into the same sort of category, but I'm going to be talking about the 4 types of men. They are much more. I'm sure if you do some research, there'll probably be like 15 or 30. I mean, if you really want to break it down, you know, you could be at it forever, because, you know, it's like the Briggs test, you know, there's so many variations. But I'm just going to talk about 4 general types. So please don't come for me, boys. The girls tend to be quite nice, but it's the boys that don't like it while I talk about them. So I'm going to talk about in general. And also, ladies, usually men don't fit necessarily and sit into one category. There might be more of this but a bit of that. So, you know, use your sort of your wisdom and just be open-minded to some of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So we're going to start off with my absolute favorite. So we've got 4 types. We've got the poet, we've got the hero, we've got the star, and we have the Lord. Now, I have named them that. Okay, I'm sure there must be some psychological something journal that sort of breaks it down and gives more intelligent names, but is what I've come up with, okay, in light of my observations and my experience and just sort of observing. So this is what I've come up with in terms of 4 different types, and within those 4 will be variations and mixtures between those 4. So if you want to know more about those types, the sort of woman that you would need to be to fit in, and really just get some insight, then definitely watch this video. This is definitely for you. And if you like this topic and more like that, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Okay, now get on with it, girl. Get on with it. So we have the poet. I wanted to talk about the poet because I think the poet is the one that gets the worst press. You know, the poet is the one we all go, ugh, the poet. You know, I remember the first time that I dated a poet, and a girlfriend of mine was like, he's just a poet. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. You know, so I know there's sort of like a thing about the poet, and I've got some notes here. So if I look down, it's because I'm sort of reading my notes because I don't want to forget anything important. So the poet is somebody who is very sensitive to a woman's emotions. He's going to be very sensitive to your emotions. He's intuitively romantic, intuitively knows what a woman wants. You know, like most men generally are not so intuitive about what we want, but a poet tends to be intuitive, very careful with his words, doesn't want to hurt you. Sensual, extremely intelligent, creative, highly creative. Usually they're artists, anyone in the sort of creative, not everyone, but they tend to be around sort of performance world, music, they're artists, painters, and anything that is sort of creative, and abstract. They are idealists, they're philosophers, and they are mistaken for lazy, but they're not. They're non-conformists. They don't like to go by the status quo. They really have a sensitivity to humanity and humanity's problems. They tend to really be sensitive to issues beyond themselves and humanitarian in their nature, and look through life through a certain kind of lens. So they don't see why they have to sit behind a desk and sort of be in corporate world just making money. The poet is not motivated by money. The poet wants to make money so that he can make a difference in other people's lives, but money in itself is not a motivation. Now, some of the cons as a result is he tends not to have a lot of money. Money tends to be an issue for him, but he's creative enough to create a romantic situation. Like I said, I've dated quite a few poets, and they have actually been the best men I've ever dated. I've got to be honest. The most creative. I remember a guy taking me to the most beautiful lake. It was isolated, beautiful, and it was a beautiful pub. And only a few people, they always know these exquisite spots, these really rare, exquisite spots that are, and they do, I remember him taking me to Brighton Beach, and we had a picnic. And money is not something that comes easy to them, because they're not driven by it. They have very little, but they make up for not having money by their creativity and how they can really please you, and they take care of those details. And above all, I am a poet in disguise. I don't lose sleep over my hair, shoes, and stuff like that. I was just somebody who, when I was a teenager, my sister sort of, I don't want to use the word forced, but something like that. They sort of, I was sort of led because of the way that I looked. I was always the cute little girl who became the pretty sort of prom queen type of, and Black Barbie type, of person. And so my family sort of were like, oh, you should be a model. So I was pushed very much into the world of fashion and modeling at a really young age. And then, of course, I found my career it was a natural navigation into beauty. So beauty, makeup, fashion, it's almost intuitive. I don't really spend time on it. I'm not in magazines looking at what's the latest. I'm not in shops buying shoes. I enjoy it occasionally. I do like it. I'm a girl, but I don't lose sleep over those things. I lose sleep over the little girls in Zimbabwe that are selling their bodies for $1. I mean, that keeps me up at night. That's what drives me. I'm not driven by how much is in my bank account. I really couldn't care less. But I do care when I can't help the little girls in Zimbabwe. Like, that's when I start to get mad. That's when I'm like, I need money, God, I need money. Because I want to help people. Whenever I think of, we all sit back and think of all the money that we could make in the world. I'm always thinking, then I could help this person, I can give that person, I could buy that person, and then I could open this and I can open that. I'm very much into humanitarian. I care about people, I care about lives. I personally, as long as I can pay my bills and live a cozy, comfortable life, that I don't have to worry about bills, that will do me. I don't need a mansion. If I have a mansion, then I'm going to fill it with kids that I've adopted. I'm that sort of girl. So when I meet with a poet, we really get on, because we're not sort of, I'm not bothered about cars, and we really get on, because mentally we get annoyed by political things, and I'm not really into that, but I get annoyed about suffering, and they get annoyed, so we get, and most of my guy friends, again, are poets, and the poets I've dated have had the most exotic and most amazing love story with them. Because, you know, and some poets are even like the likes of Nelson Mandela, or people that we wouldn't think, like Gandhi. These are men who saw the world through different lenses, who didn't prioritize their personal gain and, you know, the pretty wife. And, you know, they always had the bigger picture. They wanted to be husbands and good, responsible men, but they saw more. They felt that a responsibility to society that meant they couldn't fit into that traditional role. So I find that the poets are the people that change society and change the world and influence other people, because their minds kind of call people to be a bit more conscientious. So you can tell that I love the poet. I really do. I just can't afford one right now, you know, because they are expensive. The poet is quite happy to be with an ambitious, driven woman. They don't feel emasculated by a woman who makes the money, drives the car, pays the bills. They really don't feel any kind of way. But as women, majority of us, we don't like that guy. We don't like the guy who's comfortable sitting at home, looking after the kids, or the guy who's painting all day or writing music and doesn't really bring in consistent income. We don't feel safe or secure, and they don't want to be that guy for you. So they tend to struggle also to find relationships, because they feel like you deserve to be provided for and taken care of, but it's just not enough of a motivation for them. They want to change the world through their music, through their sound, through their song, through their voice, through their lives. They want to put meaning to things, and so they tend to be the guys that we friend zone a lot, and they sit quite comfortably there. Or they tend to be the guys who end up with really sort of high powered women who sort of are okay looking after them, or they just end up alone and lonely. Actually, that tends to be their thing. They end up being sort of loners, because they just don't fit into the box. There also are pastors, our church leaders, people who are doing things that don't make them rich but change other people's lives, tend to fit within that poet. Men who do that tend to be, they're always going for the higher ideal. So they tend to have that creativity, because they can speak, they're speakers, they can motivate, so we're around poets all the time, and we respect them and we love them. But it's just that the poet has been sort of the broke, busted and disgusted loser who's got nothing better to do with his time. And what I love about the poet is he really cares about your day. He really cares about how you feel. He really will listen about Mad Sally at work who said what, and then he will break down Mad Sally's mentality for you, and then give you a strategy for Mad Sally. And you can talk about Mad Sally all day for 4 hours, and he will patiently listen. He can preempt. He's insightful. He knows what's going to happen. And oh my gosh, they're incredible human beings. But if you're not the girl who wants to provide for a guy, if you're a girl who needs to feel that protection, he's not going to be your guy. And some of it might come across cheesy, and his affection and love can also come across quite suffocating. You might feel like, oh, okay, go away. Or he might be a little bit reclusive. So if you want to be out there doing stuff, it's just not his thing. So if you're a girl that likes to go out and have a good time and have a man spend money on you, he's not your guy. Okay, but there's so many other wonderful positives to that. The other one who's in the other extreme is the hero. The hero is the one we all love. We all love the hero. The hero will he's the man's man. The hero provides, protects, cherishes, is masculine. He's the guy that will offer to take you out to dinner, not drinks, not anything. He wants to feed you. He wants to make sure you're fine. He's very much in control, and he gets his value as a man and his worth as a man by being able to provide and protect. As long as he can provide a lifestyle and a roof and a comfortable, he doesn't like his woman worrying about money. He's going to make sure that his girl always has her hair and nails done. He is a guy who really is after that traditional family. If you are the kind of woman who wants to be a mom, stay home, look after the kids, and just be sexy for your husband, and you like to look good, and your husband and your family are really something that is for you. You really just are that person. Thank God for your life. Then the hero is definitely the guy that you want. They are in short supply. There are not a lot of guys who are hero or want to be hero. So you will find that guy, there's a lot of competition for him. There's a lot of competition, and also he's very career focused. He's very focused on making his money, because his money is how he's able to provide for you and protect and make sure you're safe. And he's gonna be less concerned about your emotional needs. Most women that are married or dating heroes tend to also be lonely, because he's very focused, very goal orientated. He wants to make sure the bills are paid, and no. And if you do tell him about what's going on emotionally with you, he wants to fix it. He's not going to listen. He's not going to break down Mad Sally for you. He's probably the guy who's going to say, honey, just quit your job. You don't need to work. I can look after you. I can look after us. Just quit. If she's making you miserable, quit. Or just tell her you're not happy. Like, they give solutions. They're not the guy who's going to listen to you while you go on and on about how much you hate something. He just doesn't have that kind of time. Like, he's just not, that's not his thing. If you're the kind of girl who likes your man around for cuddles and he's not gonna be that guy. But if you are into the rock, a man who is a rock, who's a foundation, he's that guy. He's Superman. He's your hero. He's gonna show up front and center. He's gonna make sure the family has its holidays, the kids are well dressed and go to good schools. He's gonna make sure that whatever life you live, your money that you earn is your money, and if you want to contribute, that's fine, but he's okay being the man. You know what I'm saying? So that is, if you need your guy there all the time, give you cuddles, and he's not particularly going to take care of you in the bedroom in the same way, because he feels that he's accomplished, so he's the guy who's quite okay for, bedtime to be kind of okay, mediocre, because at the end of the day, yes, he wants to satisfy you, he wants you to be happy, but he feels he's fulfilled his his whatever. Whereas the poet wants to, hey, know what I'm saying? He gets his worth, and the poet gets his worth and his value by satisfying you emotionally, sexually, making sure that you are satisfied. That's where he gets his sort of value, whereas the hero gets his value for making sure that you are fed, that you're watered, that you got a roof over your head, that you never have to worry about anything, and that if anybody touches you, like anybody comes anywhere near you, like they're protective and they look after their family. So this guy is really great for the traditional girl who really just wants to have babies and stay at home and have her nails done and always look pretty for her man and be the hostess. I always wanted to be that girl, but I didn't turn out that way. I really did. I really wanted to be that girl, but I turned out to be the other girl, boss girl. Go get her, make things happen. What can I say? I was raised by a strong, independent woman. So then you've got your star. I call him the star. The star is your handsome guy. He wears a tight suit, tailored, boo. Oh, hello. That guy's fine. Like, even if he's not particularly attractive, he carries himself like a star. I call him a star. He's you must be some kind of superstar. He's high. He walks into the room, heads turn, everybody acknowledges him as sharp. He's confident, he's an orator, he's a speaker, if it's at a party, he's a life and soul. His laugh carries through the room, or he makes people laugh. But the party hasn't started if he's not there. He walks into the room, he's charismatic, he's a star, and what he brings to a woman is status. He's the guy that you want to walk into the room with, because he brings social status to a woman. So if you like the idea of people be like, oh, who's your man? if that's your sort of thing, and you really just like the idea of basking in a man's glory, if you are a wallflower girl, the kind of girl who doesn't want to be noticed when she walks into the room, who's quite happy to be in the background. I got a lot of friends like that. They're just quite happy to be in the background, have their crazy husband over there making everybody laugh, and they don't mind that other girls are staring at him, but whatever. They're quite comfortable with, with just being in the background. If you're that girl, this guy's perfect for you. But you just have to know that he's gonna have to be the center of attention. He has to be the star of the show, and he can also be kind of Peter Panish, a little bit entitled, slightly narcissistic, not all the time, but slightly. The world revolves around him. And if you're the kind of woman who likes to really pamper a man and make him feel and believe that the world revolves around him, I know women like that who really like the idea of building up their men and making them feel like gods. He's your guy, right? Unfortunately, he will protect, he will provide, and he will protect you. But he really it's about him. It's really about him. And if you make him feel like a king, he will treat you like a queen. Like, he will take care of you, make sure you're okay. Make sure he can't allow his image and his woman to be anything less. So he can't have anybody accusing him of not being a man. Do you know what I'm saying? So he will look after you. He will take care of you. He will listen to you. He was going to make sure you're okay. But you just have to make sure it's all about him. Right? Got it? The star. Okay. Hello. I personally don't get on with the star. We just, no, doesn't work. Okay, I do like a man who's well turned out. Don't get it twisted. But I would rather sort of, I could do with the trainers and t-shirt guy. I could, nah. But stars, a lot of girls who like that. I know a lot of girls who like being with a star. So that's perfectly fine, showing up to the red carpet with him looking like the pretty, submissive, quiet wife. That's fine, Then, of course, there's the final one called the Lord. The Lord, for me, is like the difference between, he's a fake hero, and fake is a word that I'm sorry to have to use, because I'm trying to be open about this, but the Lord is very charming. He's very charismatic. He's almost a hero stroke star. People like him. He's very charming. He's very intelligent. He's a lord. He carries an air about him. The only problem with the Lord, people like to give him leadership. People like to give him preference. The Lord tends to make money. But thou shalt do as thou is told. The Lord only functions and feels that his manhood is validated by doing as a woman is told. He's very clear about a woman's place in the world. And her place is to be compliant and submissive. Submissive is not a bad word. Let's try it. Subjected to him. She must give over her will to him. So as long as you do as you're told, gives you direction, and directs everything, and you do as you're told. So if you're one of these women that's really sort of lost in the world and excuse me, like men to show you where to go, if you're really a genuinely damsel in distress, like all of these men love a bit of damsel in distress, poet not so much, but if you're kind of a bit of a damsel in distress, and genuinely so, and you genuinely cannot make up your mind about anything, what to eat, where to go, what to wear, this is your guy. This is your guy. He will literally run your life, like literally run it for you. He will tell you when to wake up, when to go to bed, to wear that dress, not to wear those shoes. And as long as you comply and go with it, he will be a great guy. He will make sure that you have everything you need and that you are sorted, but he requires compliance. So most abusive men are in this category of lord. They obviously, when they get to that extreme uncensored point, can become very abusive. They're very narcissistic. They don't fit in very well with the 21st century woman. They were the ideal guy many centuries ago. These are the guys that thrived when women couldn't work or have bank accounts or vote. That was the world they were dominant and lords over. They struggle with the 21st century woman. They find it hard to honor that. They don't understand it, they don't respect it, and they really get offended by it. So if you are an ancient soul and you need him to run the money, if you like a man that is in control of pretty much everything, including yourself, this is your guy. Otherwise, I would tell every other woman to completely run away. It's quite hard to figure this guy out, though, because he presents as a hero and presents as a star. So it takes a while before a woman gets her head around it. I know this video has been particularly longer than most, but I really wanted to be able to cover everything. And like I said, sometimes you can get a lord hero, sometimes you can get a hero lord, you can get a poet star, they're very charismatic, very well groomed, but really they're poets. You can get a combination, and they're variations as well. But I'm really hoping this really helps you when you walk into the room, as you begin to interact with men, get to see them, figure out what kind of guy is this, right? So hopefully this sort of helps clarify the sort of men they are. And if you've got any more questions, if anything that I've not made clear, please leave it in the comment section and let me know what your question is. This is a subject that I can go on and on and on about an hour over, going into the nuances and the, how can you pick a hero up or a poet up? How do you know what is the language they use? We can go into more of that. So if you've got questions, put them in the comments section and I will answer them in the comments section. And if I feel like there's sort of loads of questions that are similar, then I might do a part 2 video, if that makes sense. But for now, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you hang out with me on Instagram and Facebook. Follow me on there at Chengi's World, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.